Welcome to a new episode of the Agent Academy podcast, Proven Real Estate Systems. We have a real treat today. This is my good friend and one of the people I learned the most from across the entire industry, John Gluch of the Gluch Group, operating in San Diego, in Phoenix, and in Las Vegas. And then as we get into this, you're going to find out just how systematized this all is. Fits the theme of the podcast beautifully because we're going to walk away today with a ton of action items. So with that, I just want to say, welcome, John. I'm really glad you're here. This is going to be a treat for everybody listening. They're going to learn a lot. There's going to be a lot of notes taken.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. And the respect is mutual. You've really helped us absolutely blow up my business beyond what I ever thought possible. So thanks for having me.
Guys, so if you don't know me, I'm Dan Beer. I operate in San Diego, where we built a business up to $612 million of closed business this past year, all on the back of systems. See, I'm not interested. We're going to get to know John. We'll give him like the 60-second version right now. But unlike most podcasts where they spend the entire time on the person's story with very few takeaways, we're going to flip the script. We're going to do the exact opposite. We're going to give John a 60-second intro of himself, just so you understand a little bit of context on where his business is at, where it's come from. But we're going to spend the absolute grand majority of this on action items that both you and I can take back to the office. And that's the beautiful thing about this. So John, 60-second brief introduction of yourself.
Yeah.
What's the history in your business?
Went to Arizona State University, graduated in 2003, started doing real estate right away, had a big upswing in investing, did very well, started an investing company, and then lost it all. Went not quite bankrupt, but real close and broke as could be, and had to really rebuild and rebuilt slowly. Had about 8 or 10 years of just churning through 8 or 10 home sales a year. But then really kind of caught the vision of how much being around the right people can change your career. And I got around the right people, joined a great coaching program, and just full on dove in, learned that there are systems you can implement, there are strategies you can implement to grow a real business. And so went from 10 deals a year to this year, we'll do north of 700. We may well get over 1,000 deals done this year. So just really exploded over the past 7 or 8 years. And now we're in 3 states and 4 major metropolitan areas and 3 countries. So really proud of that.
You know, and you really, number one thing is you're doing it with a real healthy respect for the bottom line.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you're doing great there. A lot of it is the way you've scaled your business. You probably have the VA side of this business more dialed in than virtually anybody that I know.
Yeah.
So maybe we can dive into that some.
Sure.
But just to jump into the content and get this thing going, I know that one of your real hot buttons right now is helping, when you're talking to your agents, is getting your fee. Yeah. You're really focused on how do you ensure or raise the probability on getting your fee versus all the compromising that everybody else does. Let's jump in there and we'll kick off.
Yeah, totally. So, and this is about the bottom line too, right? So at the end of the day, I'd go to these conferences and these people are standing up saying, oh, I had made $1 million in commissions last year. And you'd find out at the bar that they took home, 60 grand. And it's like, gosh, that's a lot of work for 60 grand, So I, from the very beginning, thought I only want to grow if it's going to grow the bottom line. And so we've maintained really healthy profit margins, even at our scale, which is, 4 or 5 million in gross commissions this year. Our net is north of 25%, which, it's always been a real focus for us. And I want that to be true for agents as well. So I don't, the agents have got to pay a split to us and to the broker and all this other stuff. So I want them to make money. What's the best way to do that? Well, the easiest way is just raise your prices, right? Just charge more. And we're in an industry where buyer's agents are conditioned to just take what they can get from the sellers, right? The listing agent is going to offer whatever they're going to offer. And we're going to take that as the buyer's agent. That's the conditioning. And there are some environments like lately, right? You're up against 20 offers. It's tougher to negotiate a bigger fee for yourself when you're competing against many, many buyers, but that's changing, and that's always going to go up and down. There's always going to be times when it's harder to be a buyer's agent, harder to be a seller's agent. And just at the time of this recording, we're entering a time when the market is softening. And so the bell I'm ringing over and over again right now with my buyer's agents is, first of all, get good at getting VIP buyer agreements signed. And I'm not talking about your state broker agreement, like those painful, scary legal documents. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a custom made, a sales language, it's the attorney signs off on it, the broker signs off, but it's sales language explaining all the benefits of working with you as a buyer's agent in detail, and then explaining at the bottom of that agreement how it is that you as the buyer agent get signed. And so step one is
or get paid.
Yeah, excuse me, to get paid. Yeah.
Yeah.
So step one is let's get good at getting a buyer agreement signed. And the way we work on that on our team is that right now, because we haven't been doing this for like 2 years because the market was so crazy, it was like kind of pointless. Like, there's no way we're going to get extra fee from the seller when they got 20 offers, right? So we weren't even bothering. But now, as I see the market shifting, I'm focusing on this, and we softened up those agreements so that all we're asking for is loyalty. Like, the agreement literally says right now, we'll take what the seller will give us, because I need my agents to get good at signing something first. If you can't get an agreement signed that says we're going to do all this great stuff for you, and we'll take whatever the seller gives us, you'll pay us nothing. Like, if you can't get that signed, we sure as heck can't get an agreement with more teeth signed, right? So that's what we're starting with and if you don't have one of these agreements, you can reach out. johngluch.com is my website, and you can shoot me a message. I'm happy to get you our agreement that I'm happy to share. And it's just, hey, here's all the great stuff we do. And what we're going to do is we're going to get paid by the seller. And that might be $1, or it might be 2.5% or 3%. And we'll take what we can get. That's what we're starting with. So that's our focus right now, is getting in a condition where we're going to get that agreement signed.
So John, number one is, let's just pause really quickly. When you say that you have 25% profit, net profit, I want everybody listening to understand that's the business's profit. That is with you, not in production. In fact, you've been living in San Diego for a while. You lived on the beach in Coronado. You're wearing flip-flops and shorts every day while your operation in Phoenix was selling a few hundred homes a year. So this is business owner profit. I just emphasize that because a lot of times somebody will say, oh, well, I make 40% net, I make 50. Well, I guarantee you that's with your production included. When we look across the country at scaled businesses, the very best, like the very, very best, are operating somewhere in that range of where you're at. And most, even those being paraded across the Inman stage, are really taking home anywhere from 5, 8, 12% roughly is what I see the most. And there's even people that, not even there. It's kind of like John says sometimes when we talk about John Cheplack, our partner here at Agent Academy. He talks about how the tide's about to come out and everyone's been sitting waist deep with the water, covering them up, and the tide's about to roll back out. And we're going to be left figuring out who's actually wearing pants and who's not. Yeah. Right. And that's, I just wanted to emphasize that. So, okay, getting your fee, you're using the loyalty agreement. I'll second that. John, after one of the things we learned from you is after I heard you speak, and we flipped right back to the loyalty agreement, got rid of the state agreement. Because at the end of the day, we said, are we really going to go sue people? No. And that's a decision each person has to make. But since we're not, then we said, well, then we'd be much more served with a sales language driven document that establishes very clearly, without having to read 7 pages of mumbo jumbo, that very clearly establishes we're going to do this. But also what I love about your agreement is you're going to do this. Like, it also establishes what the buyer's expectations of their behavior, of their loyalty, of how they will communicate with you. You're establishing that right up front.
Yeah, it's at its basics. So this is like step 1 of 10. Step 1 of 10 is get an agreement signed that says, I'm going to do this great stuff for you and you don't pay me anything. Step 1, right? That seems simple. How hard could that be to get signed? And oh, by the way, it's cancelable anytime. And we have a commission back guarantee that we do at the Gluch Group, where all the way up until the day before closing, for any reason, with no conditions whatsoever, we will give you our whole commission if you're not happy with how things go, for any reason. And that's built into the agreement. So this is an agreement that actually it's better for the buyer to sign, because that holds us to account. Now we have this commission back guarantee in place that, is pretty scary for us if we've actually got to perform, or else we don't earn any money on this deal. So that's step 1. And then what you want to do is graduate as you get better, you get more confidence, your team grows in confidence in this, which is what we're working towards. And 3-4 years ago, we did this all the time, and we got all the way up to 3.5%. Our buyer agreements were for, and we can get seller concessions in a softer market, right? So what we were telling the buyers is, hey, here's all the great stuff we do, and we charge 3.5%. And if the seller's not going to pay us 3.5%, maybe they're paying 3%, 2 3/4, whatever, then what we're going to do is we're going to get the seller to pay that. And the way we're going to do that is a closing cost concession. You remember those, Dan? You've been around a while. And the lender gets paid, right? The escrow gets, all these people get paid. And why shouldn't we? So we would, in the agreement, say, hey, Mr. Seller, we'd like you to pay 2% toward the closing costs. And oh, by the way, those closing costs include our fee. The co-broke in the listing was 2.5. Our fee is 3.5. So 1% of that would go to us. And we did that every day, all day for years. So it's doable. You just have to be aware of what the marketplace is allowing and demanding. And we're in a shift right now where now it's important just to put back up your antenna for, okay, where are we going to make our money as real estate agents? And this is an opportunity that most people are overlooking right now.
So anyone listening, what's going to be their biggest holdup in using a document like this and implementing it? And ultimately, when you're talking about you're getting your fee, I'd like to dive into kind of the details on how you're ensuring you get your fee, not just what's offered. I'm sure you have a transaction fee of some sort, or maybe you can't call it that, but it's let's just say an additional commission baked into it. But still, how are you dealing with that new construction deal? I know in San Diego, for example, we have new construction where even big builders like Lennar are paying zero to the buyer's agent. How are you dealing with those situations?
Yeah. And look, that's not going to stop. Like in Arizona, you used to be able to, as an agent, you used to be able to search. You could build your MLS search that went to your client and you could say, I only want to see houses with a X co-broke or higher. Now, is that allowed by the code of ethics or whatever? I don't know. That's not my place to say, but were agents doing that? No question they were. There's no doubt about it. That is gone. You can't do it anymore. It's not a function in MLS in Arizona, and different states are going to have different things that are happening. But what I'm telling you is the listing agents are going to keep dropping those co-brokes, and we pulled the numbers and they've dropped about 0.5 point in the last year in both Arizona and in California. Okay. Statistically. So they're going to keep getting lower, and you're seeing commonly $0, $5, $100, whatever, these really low fees. So we've got to get good at this because you can't work for free, and now we're shooting for, let's get up to 3.5, whatever. Let's get what we deserve. We're really providing incredible service. But at a fundamental baseline level, you got to get more than $10 or $5 or what some of these crazy, like the builders are doing. So the way we do that is, first of all, you got to get the agreement signed. And what's in the way of that? Their agents just aren't used to doing it. They just don't want to. It sounds scary. And that's why I'm having my agents start with very teethless, easy to get signed paperwork, right? I'd have them get a coloring book signed wherever it takes, right, to get started, So that's the big thing is mindset. But then from a practical standpoint, eventually what you do is you get to a point where you start saying, we are going to charge our fee and we'll get it from the seller. Because right now it says we'll take what we can get. The next step will be, you'll never have to pay anything, Mr. Buyer. If we can't get it from the seller, like if we're up against 5 offers and we can't get it, then we'll take it in the shorts. It'll be okay. You're never going to have to pay this, right? So that's step 2 is, if we can get the deficiency from the seller, then we're going to do that in the form of a closing cost credit from the seller. If we can't, no big deal. And so that's step 2. Step 3 is our fee is whatever it is. You charge what you charge, and we're going to get that either from you or from the seller. That's step 3. We did play around with transaction fees. So it'd be plus $4.95 or whatever. And we found that tripped people up more than the percentages did. Like it was real easy to get a 3.5% signed, and really hard to get 3% plus $4.95 signed. And I don't know why, something about human psychology, but it was consistent. And so we just stopped doing that, and we just went to our percentage fee. And
that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's something to look at.
And what makes this easy for us to do is the commission back guarantee has a lot of weight here too, right? Because we're saying this is what we charge. Dude, if you don't think we're worth it, by the time we get done with this, you just say the word and it's yours. And so there's a lot of confidence that builds in like, oh, these guys aren't kidding around. Okay. And, oh, by the way, you're not going to have to pay it. We're going to get it from the seller. We're so confident in our negotiation skills that this is not going to come from you.
So let's get in the head of the people that are listening to this and saying, hold on a second. Everyone's going to take advantage of me. Everyone's going to say, give me your commission back. What are you really finding and plays out in real life?
Yeah, zero. We've never had anybody say that. So now, will we? Probably someday. And what we will do is march on over to the escrow office and get a big mega huge check take a picture with them of us actually giving them the money and put it on every web page we have, because what we want to do is demonstrate to people, hey, listen, we really mean it. We're not kidding around on this.
Exactly.
The increased amount of business you will get is so far above and beyond what it'll cost you that you can't even really compare it. Now, everyone's got to make their own business decisions, right? And this is all optional for my agents on my team. I tell them you can do this or not do it. It's up to you. But all the branding we do, increasingly, this is our guarantee. And we used to do guaranteed sale, and we still do some of that stuff, but we have found that to be less effective in a pretty crowded marketplace where a lot of people are saying the same stuff. There's not many people saying this that I know of.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And it touches on a core principle of marketing that I talk about all the time, which is when you're putting a message out in the marketplace, if it doesn't make you nervous, if you're not like, hold on, are we really going to put this out there? If you don't get a call from your mom or dad saying, hey, Dan, hey, John, are you crazy? Son, you're going to lose your ass on this thing. You know, if you don't get that phone call from a parent or someone that loves you, then you don't have anything that the marketplace is even going to notice.
Right.
So the fact that you have a little bit of nerves around it is a good signal that the public will actually respond, notice, and take action on it. Yeah. And then you're ultimately in control of the variables. You're in control of, first of all, let's be honest. Do you have a great, in the case of this guarantee that you're offering, do you deliver? Do you have great service? Are your clients happy? And revisiting the way these things play out, because I've had various things like this, John, over the course of never this one, I think it's brilliant. But over the course of my career, I've done things in this space. And what I find is where the skeptic thinks, hold on, I'm going to get so taken advantage of. The reality is I found exactly what you found. There's far fewer bad apples out there. Most people are good, honest people. They just want to get a house. Right. They just want to sell their home. They just want to do business. And a lot of agents will stop themselves from doing something that'll have create exponential growth in their business and differentiate themselves, because that's really what this whole thing's about. Totally. Especially this industry, my God, there's way too many agents. So you have to differentiate yourself. Yeah. And so a lot of agents will not do so because of the fear of there's disproportionate fear of loss to what reality will really be. And then when you find the loss, you turn it into marketing. Yeah. Like you just said, you're going to go and get the big check, take photos, and you're going to turn it into marketing, and legitimacy, and you're going to use it to build trust. So I love that. Yeah. I really love that.
That's what the broker literally was like, well, dude, this is insane, but you can do it. And I was like, which is what you pay the broker for. And my attorney, same thing. When I gave him the language, I'm like, is this okay? He's like, well, it's dumb, but you can do it. I'm like, great. Awesome. I pay you to tell me you should be scared. Your job is to be scared. Like I'm a marketer, awesome. You're an attorney, you're a broker. And part of it is if I'm going to charge more, right? So if I'm saying, if the industry is perfectly happy taking 2.25, and I'm going to march my way on up to whatever, 3.5, whatever the market will bear, then I need to be offering something above and beyond what everyone else is offering, and this is one
based on that, you can actually not, like, you haven't even had anyone call you on it because you're delivering. Yeah. But when you're collecting 33% more commission per deal, you could theoretically have 1 in every 3 call you on it, and you're still even.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So I love that. The math is in your favor.
Yeah.
All right. Let's shift gears here a little bit, John. First of all, if you're enjoying this, something I didn't tell you in the introduction, which I probably should have, this is a guy that is not only now an Agent Academy coach. And so this is his coming out party. He's a platinum coach at Agent Academy, which means he is helping teams, businesses like yours, teams like yours, practices like yours, and like mine, by the way, grow. But this is also a guy that's been literally for years on stage with people like Darren Hardy. And he just has a way of delivering information in a way that makes you feel confident to take action. And you could already see that, I'm hoping. So this is really a lot of fun. John, we're going to get into the structure of your business a little bit. And then we're going to go to, you're known for your WOW system. Your WOW system on how you just really take the client experience to a level that they're not expecting, that surprise and delight element, but not just saying it, not just using those words, but really systematize it. And we'll give people the action steps. Before we go there, the structure of your business is surprisingly, and I'm going to use the word surprisingly because there's not many people executing at this level through VAs. Yeah. You're not only executing through VAs, but you're also operating now in 3 markets. And so I think people would like to understand how that's structured.
Yeah, so we have, it's around 20 team members overseas in India and the Philippines. And it all starts with 1. And you will hear lots of people in the real estate space say they tried it and it didn't work. And that's possibly because the person they hired was the wrong person, but it's more likely that the agent was not willing or able to put the time in to work with that team member to really scale them up and to help them grow. I've got a landing page, VA cheat sheet, like virtual assistant, vacheatsheet.com. And I built a whole system out, like, and it's totally free. It's videos and all this other stuff on how to start, recruit, train, and on an ongoing basis, motivate your virtual assistants. But the system basically works like this. Anything administrative that does not require a real estate license, somebody overseas is doing for us. So that's transaction coordinating. That's, when offers come in on properties, those are all being received by virtual assistants who are laying them out in very readable ways for clients to be able to digest them. That's inside sales guys calling back leads. That's, anything you can imagine. We have virtual assistants helping write offers. So literally putting together offers, like hundreds, and getting them in front of the agent so the agent could just look it over, make sure it's right. You need a licensed person to look at it, but all that extra heavy lifting doesn't need to be done. We have them, every OSA, every outside sales agent on our team has their own assistant. So brand new agents, never sold a house before, they have their own assistant. And the reason we can do that is because these are overseas team members who are well-trained, they're super skilled, but they don't cost the team a whole lot of money. And so we can afford to, as a differentiating factor for our team, provide assistance, personal assistance to every agent on our team. So they're helping manage emails, receive incoming phone calls, send outgoing text messages. Anything you could think of, they're doing right now.
So what's the structure like for something like this? Is there a key point person overseas that you have that then manages them? Do you have in-house staff? What does that look like? Yeah. And so who's in charge of, when you said you have 20 team members, that's your overseas staff, 20 VAs?
Right. Yep.
Okay. So how many do you have how many do you have stateside?
We only have 3 admin in the US.
And are they in Phoenix, San Diego, Vegas? Where are they at?
One in Phoenix, 2 in Phoenix, 1 in San Diego.
So you have 2 in Phoenix, 1 in San Diego. And then, so what's the org? Just give me a basic idea on the org chart.
So like we call them OSA VAs. So these are virtual assistants who are our agents' assistants. And there are 4 of them. One of them is the head of that department. So he's overseas in India. He's an incredible, wonderful guy, great leader. So he runs the VA team for all our sales agents. So anything that department needs to, because those agents are doing a certain set of things. They're setting up showings, they're answering incoming emails, they're working directly with clients. So they have a certain skill set, certain set of duties that they're accomplishing. And it's all based around what our sales agents do. So our outside sales agents deal with those guys. We have an inside sales department headed up by a guy in the US, and he has 3 assistants who are VAs. So we have an ISA department with 3, 1 guy in the US and then 3 who work for him. Transaction coordinator, we have 1 in the US and she manages 3 VAs. So it's largely someone in the US who is in charge of a group of people overseas, generally speaking.
Okay. Love that.
And it's kind of departmental, like how it makes sense, who's doing the same kind of role, that kind of thing.
Love that. Love that. And you know what, the biggest takeaway I have from it is, it's kind of like we hear on any lead source, John, whether it was, PPC is awful, PPC is great. Zillow's great, Zillow's awful. Realtor.com is awful, Realtor. Well, hold on a second. It can't be awful for some and great for others. Like Zillow's not sending the good stuff one place and the bad stuff elsewhere. What's your system? How are you managing it? What's your lead follow-up process? What's the system behind it? And with VAs, it's no different. VAs are terrible. Well, tell me about your experience with them. Well, I had one 3 years ago and it wasn't any good. Okay, well, so let's settle down. Okay, how did we manage them? How did we lead them? Did we think it was just a plug and play? And there's still a human being that has to be led, managed, and there's a process to it. And some people think they're just going to plug them in and off they go. So we have to look inward and ask ourselves, how were we managing them? Because at the end of the day, they are human beings that are, depending on which one you hire, highly skilled, just as, the whole deal.
I think a
lot of it comes back to you.
The fundamental thing, I think, is that most people don't have a system. Like they don't have specifically a task management system that can be shared. Like we use Asana for that. Yeah. You could use Trello, you could use Monday, whatever. Most people are operating out of their email or literally a yellow pad of paper, right? And that does not work with someone over. You just can't do that with someone overseas. Like you need a plan. And we like Asana. It's easy. It's simple. It's not expensive. You need some system for like, here's the stuff I have to do today. And that task management system allows you to communicate with your overseas team member in an efficient way to say, wait a minute, I don't need to do this task. This is something I can train this person on. So like a task management system, and then a system we use a lot is called Loom, Loom. And so Loom is a screen recording software. It's free. And you can, so you're sitting there, you're like, I'm about to do this job that I don't really think I need to do. So I need to train my new team member on how to do this. Click a button, Loom records your screen, and you show them how to do that thing. You save that hyperlink in the task, and now they know how to do that thing. You didn't need to set a meeting. You didn't need to have a super fancy software. It's that simple, right? And so it's really the fundamental, I think the main problem is people just don't have that. They don't have a system set up to manage their tasks in an efficient way and to be able to delegate their tasks in an efficient way. And those two systems are all you need. I mean, that'll get you started. That'll get you through 3 VAs without doing anything else. Now you get a bunch of people like I have, you need more stuff, but those two right there are the place to start, in my opinion.
Now, a lot of team leaders, whether they're, budding team leaders or seasoned team leaders alike, they suffer or they need help with, they have pain points around recruiting and retention.
Yeah.
What are these VAs that you call the OSA VAs, the VAs that your agents have that are helping them with tasks and all kinds of things that they're doing? What has that done for you? Is there anything you've noticed about that around your ability to recruit and retain?
Yeah. So the two things. One, it really is incredible. Like, for example, a guy named Chris on my team, he's never going to be the guy who's on social media all the time. He knows it's a good idea, but he's just not going to do it. So we got this system called, what's it called? The Broke Agent is these funny guys who post funny real estate posts, and you can buy content from them. And so for like $30 a month, you subscribe to their thing, and they just pump out content that any realtor could post about real estate. And it's fun and funny and silly. And so his virtual assistant for him just goes in there, pulls the content from Broke Agent and posts it twice a week. So now Chris is like the best guy we have on the team on Instagram, right? And he has no idea, like it's just getting posted, So that it's hard to leave a team when that kind of stuff is happening so regularly. You're like, that's not going to get. There aren't many teams in the country who have the level of help that my agents have, because we can do it so affordably, because of the scale. We can provide lots and lots of help to our agents. And then also they really become friends. So like you interact with these virtual assistants every day, and they're fun and funny and amazing human beings. And they're so grateful for the job, and they're so unentitled. And it's very refreshing. You get in America where it just seems like everyone's upset about everything and entitled about everything. And you spend a little bit of time with one of these VAs in India or the Philippines who are just delightful and happy to have a job and here to serve and wonderful. And it really is inspiring, and you become friends, and you get a connection, and that makes it hard to leave too. You're 70% less likely to leave a job you have a friend at, and you're creating friendships. So our retention is insane. I mean, it's rare for someone to leave the team.
I love that. It's going to be fun to watch you coach others through that. And that's such a pain point for most. And then to be able to do it at the cost structure you're doing it at, I think it's really brilliant, and it's a way that you're differentiating your team and can be duplicated. So that's going to be fun to watch. We're going to close out with this, John. John, is talking systems again. Your WOW system, that's what you call it, right? Some people could think of it as their surprise and delight system, but it's interesting because my team, I'll admit, we had failure around this, where we tried to, our heart was in the right place. We wanted to do more and more for our clients, and who's great and who's special, and, just trying to make everything so personalized. And that as the business grew, there was just no way we could keep up with it. And so this is an area that I know we want to retool. And I know a lot of people want to be able to identify, well, who are our best people? The best people in our database, our best clients are the people that refer us the most. And they want to be able to do more for them. But what I find, John, just like for me, is we'll do it for a period of time based on momentum, based on energy, based on just excitement, and let's go get it done. But because it's not systematized, it fizzles out because it just takes too much conscious effort.
Yeah.
Talk to us about how you're solving for that.
We do the same as we do for agents too. You're right. It's got to be, you have to start with a system. So anytime you're trying to appreciate people, care for people, whether that's your clients, your wife, your team, anybody, you got to have, and this is something Darren Hardy, who's a mentor of mine, as you mentioned, taught me, was you have to have a system, and that's got to be like 80% of the heavy lifting. It's got to be the system. And then 20% is the spur of the moment, excited. I heard about that thing. Oh, that's cool. I noticed. That's important too. But the system's got to be built, and it's all around events and occurrences, right? So our customer, our CRM is built to, every time we get a referral, every time someone sends a referral, every time it's someone's house anniversary, every time it's an agent's anniversary at the team. We don't do a lot around like birthdays, for example, because they're going to get a lot of messages on their birthday. So we're trying to invent reasons to get in front of that person. Like, no one remembers the day they bought their house, So we're hitting those life milestones specifically. And that can all be systemized for sure. You can also just in general say like, okay, we've got a referral partner who's fantastic. They've sent us a lot of business. We're just going to build into the system. Once a quarter, we're going to go find some reason to give them a gift. And that's a system. So our WOW coordinators reminded, hey, we haven't sent anybody, that person, any love in a while, in 3 months. Go on their Facebook and find some reason to celebrate them. And you look on Facebook for something they did, some award they got, some achievement, some exciting event, whatever. And it's just not that hard to find a reason to celebrate people. We do that with work anniversaries too. We do this with our VAs. When our VAs hit 5 years, we do something really, really big for them. And like we work with their spouse to figure out what that is, because me shipping over who knows what from America to the Philippines is going to be expensive, and it may not hit the nail on the head. So we're working with their spouse to figure out what would they be blown away by, and sometimes it's like a new refrigerator. It's totally different every time. But now their spouses are like, wow, that's a really cool company you work for. Like, they did all this work to make sure you got, appreciated and cared for. So you can invent lots of reasons to care for people, and then just create a system that reminds you that those events are occurring. And
so take us on the inside then. Take us on the inside of what would your system look like, or if you were working with someone, what do they need, either from a human resource standpoint, a tech standpoint? What's the data that you want to track?
Yeah.
How does someone build the beginnings of this system?
Yeah, I would just start with your referral sources. So who are the people who are referring you the most people, or your team, if you have a team. And I mean, it's super simple. Like any software, any task management system can remind you once a year to give them a gift, right? So like EvaBot is our friend Kyle Whistle talks about, and that's a really easy gifting bot. And it could start as simple as this, like literally like, it's that person's house anniversary, or it's that person's work anniversary. And you get a reminder a week before that anniversary to send them a little love, and you text them EvaBot, and EvaBot gets their preferences and whatever and sends them a gift. I mean, it could start that simple. It can get more complicated and more meaningful. Like, okay, I'm going to send the gift, but I'm also going to send a video message. And so what I'll do with people on our team is I'll record a message anytime someone has some kind of accomplishment, like a team member wins that month of sales, or they get especially a big sale done. I'll record a little video on my phone, and I'll text it to them and their spouse via text message, because whose approval do they care the most about? Their spouses. So it's, hey, that person just got their biggest sale of their career. I'm going to send a video. Hey, just wanted to give you an awesome shout out, Garrett. Fantastic. It's the best sale we've ever had at the company. And it's because of you being, and you just are meaningful. So, it's just a matter of like, let's brain dump 10 or 15 different ideas of different ways or reasons you could celebrate people, and then build them into your task management system. And it's really that simple. It's just taking the time to do it, sitting down and doing it, and you'll be blunt. I mean, people it means so much to them, and it's meaningful to you as the person who's doing the giving. So it's really pretty simple. It's just a matter of putting the time in.
Is there a budget you work with and in your mind that you want to?
Yeah, we're, typically gifts are anywhere from $50 to $100 per gift. And it's going to vary. We don't have a specific budget, but in general, we're doing probably 3 or 4 of those a year for our team members. And then same thing for referral partners. Now, some people are enormously valuable, and so we'll do some crazy out of the box stuff for, clients who really, really go above and beyond. But in general, it's probably $400 per team member, I would say, per year.
Right. Yeah. Good. And it makes me think of, because literally today at the office, we had the people that provide our employee benefits in office.
Yeah.
And it's one of these things where, you're talking about $300 or $400. You couldn't add $300 or $400 to people's salaries or to their commissions and
Right.
have it mean the same as if they were getting these touches from you, or even something like health insurance, something like life insurance, something like disability. Yeah. You literally could not add to have the same impact on their happiness, on retention, et cetera. You'd probably have to spend 10x more if you were delivering it through dollars rather in these particular ways. And so I like that about what you're doing. It's smart, and you just have this good way of understanding what's going to move a human being and kind of just dumbing it down into a duplicatable process that you can scale net, right? In your case now, upwards of 700 homes that you're projecting that you'll sell this year. Yeah. So that's awesome. That's awesome. And I hope this has been really helpful. The idea here, we're going to have you back, John, for sure. And we'll deep dive on whatever our audience wants to hear about. But you get a sense of just how sharp, how simple, and most importantly, how John can help take the overwhelm out of what appears to be complex, make it simple, and so that we'll go into action, because it's overwhelm that'll often keep us from doing what we need to do and doing what has to be done, right? Which is the action piece. So you're an expert at that, man. I'm personally really grateful for what you've done to just help me and my team and my growth so far. And it's been a great friendship, and it's really fun now to share you with our Agent Academy community, which is an incredible group of people, right? And primed on some core principles. And one of those being, this is a no theory zone. This isn't a what we think will work, what we think might be a good idea, what could one day like possibly sound. No, this is all delivered through people that are doing it right now, doing it today, solving the issues that others want solved. And that's why we're seeing so many people in the community having results. Looking forward to engaging a ton more. This is the Agent Academy podcast. That is John Gluch. And if you want to engage with John Gluch, you could head over to agentacademy.com. You can find him on our coaches page. Guys, it's been another amazing episode. I know I'll be replaying this one at least once or twice, John, just to make sure I got all my notes done, pass them on to my assistant, my marketing person, my team. And you listening, I hope you do the same. Have a great one, and we'll see you on the next episode. This is the Agent Academy Proven Real Estate Systems Podcast.